Hey guys, Dr. Shadow Puppet here coming at you with another mentoring video. This time, instead of a quick tip, instead of anything short, we're going to go with a 30-minute long review of a medic who contacted me recently and saying he wanted me to analyze his play and look at what he was doing wrong. Some background on our medic: his name is Dastabah. He has some UGC experience and some Highlander experience, but no actual like long-term seasonal sixes experience. He wants to move into ESCA coming into the next season, and his team is kind of in the same place as he is, where they come from Highlander, don't have a lot of sixes experience. A lot of this is going to be very new to them. So with that in mind, we're probably going to see a lot of mistakes here. I've looked through a little bit of the demo already before recording, and I've seen some pretty big ones that we'll address as they come up. But the important thing to note here is that this medic is starting from scratch, and I know a lot of medics are going to be in a very similar position and are going to be making a lot of very similar mistakes. So let's kind of take a look at what Dastabah is doing. We're going to go right in here into the first round, and he's healing his demo. He's doing good. He doesn't really need to go back for that soldier there, but other than that, he's doing just fine here. The soldier needs to be a little bit faster, but I think he got a back spawn, so, you know, things like that happen. So as he gets to mid here, he crossbows his soldier, he hits him, so that's fine. But you can notice that his team's not, we can just take a look here real quick, his team's not particularly buffed right now. And I think that it would have served him a lot better for him to have met up with his soldiers before going in and giving them both a good heal here, because only one of his soldiers is buffed right now, and the other one is losing his buff very quickly, and neither of his scouts have buff, and he has his crossbow out right now. This is the first big mistake that I think Dastabah is making procedurally throughout all of the stuff I've watched of him so far, and just so far in the 30 seconds we've been watching, is that he uses his crossbow way too much. If he had pulled out his medigun and gotten onto his demo man, I'm not going to say he would have been able to save his demo man. It looks to me as if maybe they should have made some different strategic decisions on how to protect their demo man and how far their demo man should have been up at that mid. But he would have at least been able to get a little more heals on him, and maybe had the scout missed his shot, maybe might not have lost the demo man immediately. We're going to continue here. Again, he's not healing anybody. He finally picks the soldier back up and is buffing his scouts, but he's really not applying his heals very evenly or very effectively. And see, you see here that he's just slinging crossbows across the map. What he needs to be doing here is connecting with the scouts. And unfortunately, he loses one to a sniper because of it. And now, it's true that he gets the Uber saws, and, you know, that's all fancy and stuff. But he would have gotten Uber anyway. Very likely would have gotten Uber. I'm going to talk about that bomb here in a second. He very likely would have gotten Uber anyway, and he would have been able to keep a scout up, making his pushing power that much stronger. In that bombing situation, we saw that he didn't look at the bomber. At least with my headphones, I could hear the bomber. He should have been called, and if not, he could at least be heard. And I thought I saw a little flash of him on the screen anyway. Dastabah needs to be hyper vigilant about those cues and needs to look at the bomber and be ready to strafe those rockets. As it is, the bomber is not successful. He does strafe it out of danger, but I feel as if Dastabah took more damage than he necessarily needed to in that trade. But it all worked out for the better. He's going to get this health pack. Pretty good decision making on that part, instead of staying on the point and risking another bomber or something. Here he kind of moves up too fast ahead of his team, but it doesn't really affect him any. If the other team had been playing a little more aggressively, they might have seen that and gone in to pop him. But you know, remember, they're also playing against a team of similar skill level, so, you know, take it as you will. His pocket there jumps away from him, and I feel as if that maybe Dastabah should have been talking to his pocket and say, hey, don't leave me here, don't leave me here. We need to put a lot of pressure on this bridge ramp that they're on right now. He does get forced, and it's a very early force, and I really don't feel as if he needed to get forced there at all. Holding onto that Uber to push into last would have been much more powerful, and I feel that keeping the pocket closer and pushing as a whole cohesive unit and taking and occupying space in that way would have served this team a lot better. Alright. So, the Uber doesn't accomplish a whole lot, but he was popped, and sometimes that happens with popped Ubers. What he should be doing here is well, first of all, stop crossbowing people, and hooking up with the rest of his team. Now, here, he heals the scout in, and the demo man, I believe, is right behind him, right here. Dastabah needs to be looking back and helping get his teammates through the choke, helping get his teammates with the buff into the choke. He's not doing anything right now. He's dropped down. It's kind of hard to see because I can't really move the camera, but he's dropped down off of the bridge here, which means he can't easily jump back up. And this is going to prevent him from healing anybody else as they come in, and getting people buffed as they come into this last fight is just as, if not more important than getting them buffed going into that mid fight. The more health you have going into a fight, the better it is, and so your medic's job needs to be buffing people as they're walking in this kind of situation. But he does hook back up with the scout, and he does hook up back with the demo man. I think, yeah, he does go down here, but that's fine. Their team gets the point, sacrificing yourself for the point, all well and good. I just feel he could have played that a little crisper and a little cleaner. So let's watch the second mid here. It looks like his soldier got a better spawn this time, which is good. Sometimes snake water spawns bug out like that. It happens in TF2 in general. Alright, so we're doing a little better. His demo man misses his rollout this mid, but again, not a huge deal. Lower level of play. Coming on out, he hooks up with his demo man immediately. I love this. He goes to the scouts. It's almost as if he could hear me talking after the fact here. I do like his heals a lot better this mid. His team is kind of not being aggressive enough and not using these heals very well, but Dastabah does get out, takes his opportunity to get out, doesn't try to overstay his welcome, and gets out just fine. So when they lost both soldiers there, I feel like it was already too late to save the mid. What they should have done is their demo man got really passive, and I feel like that's a problem he's having because last round he was too aggressive and got jumped immediately. So he wanted to play a little more passive, but you have to strike that balance. He got hooked up with the medic immediately. His health was good at the mid. His scout's health was good at the mid. If they had powered through and pressured on and the demo man had supported his soldiers, they possibly could have done a lot more work and they would have won that mid. But those are the kind of mistakes that even mid to high open teams will make frequently, so not a huge deal. He is holding a little aggressively for not having any soldiers, but let's see how his team handles that. I'm gonna kind of take a bird's eye view here a little bit of this fight. Okay, so his soldiers are kind of moving up, kind of trying to get the scout, and that's all good. Finally get the scout. He's getting everybody healed. He needs to hook up with his roamer, I think, who's waiting for the health pack. His roamer can come for those heals, but it looks like they want to push, and that's, I think, is a good decision here. They managed to catch out a soldier, or sorry, a sniper, and now the demo man who does not get saved by the medic. It's time to turn tail and run. Now, the end of that Uber was kind of misplayed a little bit. They should have left a lot earlier and presented a nice base of fire. If they had all left a little earlier and their soldier and demo man had left, presenting a nice front leaving, he could have put stickies forward, the demo man could have put stickies forward, the soldier could have shot rockets forward, and as blue team engaged too hard post-Uber, they could have easily gotten all three of them and been able to really easily push back into mid. But as it is, it didn't lose them anybody, and so they're just probably just going to push in here. Their demo man is doing good amounts of work. Their pocket, who I assume is Shadow, is doing lots of work as well. Nice name from Shadow. I approve. Again, I'd like to see a little more aggressiveness. I'd like to see a little more play forward with those advantages. Stacking has a purpose, but I think in that situation where they had most of their players up anyway, and you're looking at a huge Uber and health advantage, push your players up, take some space forward, and be ready to put some fight up. This is kind of a hidden secret of Medic, as it were, something that's not immediately intuitive. When you're facing pipes like that, don't walk backwards into them, because the pipes are rolling behind you and you will get hit by the roller like he did. If you either sidestep or move forward a little bit, those pipes will explode behind you and you'll be just fine. So you should, in that situation, you should be calling that their demo man is playing in yard, because that's where the demo man has to be in this situation, because if he's spamming through the window. He's playing in yard. See if your flank can't put a little pressure on him. Where is your flank here? Your flank does not appear to be in a position to do that. No. But see if you can't put a little pressure on him, or at least dodge those a little bit better. Again, that's kind of an experiential thing. It's not really intuitive. You want to move away from the damage, and that's what most people like to do. So right now they just lost their medic. They know they're going to have an uber disadvantage. They're sticking up and getting ready in a defensive position at mid. I do like this. Let's see what Dastabah does here. Okay, so we know that they're getting pressured on mid, so Dastabah knows better than to engage. This is all good. He starts falling back. I really would have liked to have seen him hook up with a healing target much faster to build the Uber and to get the healing targets. And they're playing really aggressively, considering, I mean, look at the numbers right now. They are 3 down to the enemy team's 2 down, and the enemy team has a positional advantage. And right now, the 3 for red team here, I don't know their team name actually. The 3 for red team are all in the same spot here in the exit to Saw room. The entirety of the flank is open. The entirety of, let's see if nobody's pressuring it right now, but the entirety of that flank is open to being exploited completely. And that's a really big risk this medic is taking here, and his pocket is taking. It looks like they want to be aggressive with it, and they have to know that they're at a pretty big disadvantage here, an 80% disadvantage. So their goal needs to be to popping the enemy team as they get ready to come in, and backing up and playing that Uber engage game. This probably is going to be a loss of 2nd point for them. And really, I think it does all come back down to initially that dodging of that spam and not being aggressive when he could have been on that midpoint. But let's see what he does here. So his demo man's probably being too aggressive here. They're not hitting their shots though, so it looks like their demo man is going to be just fine. And so they see the pop. The first thing they need to be doing here is running. They got the pop. It's time to leave, and they do. Excellent. Unfortunately, they lose both soldiers. That's really kind of not good. You want to keep at least 1 soldier up. Ideally, the roamer will bomb and get the force with maybe a scout partner trying to help out there. But the roamer spawns pretty quickly, so it's not going to be a big deal. Red team has uber advantage in this situation. I want to see what they're going to do with it. I'd like to see some aggression, but I understand that can be pretty hard to do. Okay, so responding to a little bit of a cap pressure. He's going to have to pop here. There they go. Okay, so I do like this aggression. I think that some more focused target calling needs to be done. I think that they need to be going for demo men, and they need to be going for medics here. He doesn't seem to really know what to do with this Uber here. And they need to be taking two objectives. They need to be taking cap pressure so that things like this back cap that has just started doesn't happen. It looks like they probably get 2nd anyway, but they need to be getting at least times 3 or times 4 on that point. So I think in this situation, our combo should be further back. On the other hand, I wish that Uber, when it was first popped, was used more aggressively to put pressure on the medic and demo man. The demo man is down. The demo man did go down. He only just went down. But putting a lot more pressure on the key players on that blue team would allow for them to be able to roll right into mid much easier. Okay. So his pocket's kind of acting like a roamer here. And that's all well and good. He backs up. I think he backed up a little late, but nobody took advantage of it. And they're back in their normal position. This is, by the way, not a good position for Dastabah to be holding in. Notice how he cannot see anything. The only thing he can see is his own balcony. The player behind them that was backcapping is taken care of. That was Games Dean. So it's really nothing behind them that they need to be worrying about. Dastabah needs to be backing up a little bit, maybe holding on the bridge, maybe holding a little bit by the health and the ammo pack down here where he is, but facing the other way so he can preempt incoming threats and be able to surf away. Right now, if a soldier is behind him, he doesn't know unless his demo man has said it. If something is pushing flank and wasn't seen, he doesn't know. He cannot see anything. On the topic of seeing things, he's doing an awful lot of looking at the ground. I want to promise people that players do not magically pop onto the ground. And so looking up a little bit is okay. In fact, I do suggest it, especially in places like this where soldiers can be coming from above. Again, he's doing an awful lot of not healing, an awful lot of crossbowing. Crossbowing doesn't build Uber, and Uber is really, really important, obviously. So I want to see him do more focus on healing, and I want his players to be building with him a little more. Usually a scout. I think a scout build here would be a safe and good option to get that Uber. No, there we go. See, it's as if they can hear me. They can't, by the way, but... Alright, let's see what we got going on here. So Shadow is playing a little more aggressively. He's getting ready to pop them, but he does not have his medic with him directly, so that's kind of a dangerous proposition. Their roamer died. Roamer dying there. Okay, it's fine. Flanks, plays like that happen on the flank all the time. So the soldier bombed our demo man. He really should have gone to save that demo man the moment he saw the soldier in the air. Right now they are bleeding players. This is a failed Uber and it is time to get out. He's being body blocked and rightly chooses to go below. And he gets out. He's doing a really good job of getting out. I wish I could see how many deaths he has, but he's doing a really good job of getting out at all times. He does not have very many deaths, I know that. So they chose a heavy here. They're a little bit disadvantaged. I think they know they're about even because they popped at the same time. I would have liked to have seen the medic maybe play a little closer to the heavy to get that scout play down, and also play a little more defensively if you don't have that soldier. That's a pretty big drop there. He's not going to spawn before Q2, the enemy medic, has 75% or so. Well, he's not healing right now, so. But either way, blue team is going to have a pretty big advantage, and that's never really a situation you want to be in. But his team does get a lot of cleanup frags, and they're starting to move up here, and I do like that. Take those advantages where you can. No team has ever won a game by holding last point. So, we're getting some good spam down. The enemy team doesn't have Uber yet. So, right for the moment, they're safe. But the blue team is getting dangerously close to Uber. And they lose their pocket. So, I really do want to see them backing up here a little bit. Let's see if I can get back on him. Is he running quick? He's running quick fix. So, quick fix is not a viable weapon. I do not think he should be running quick fix. Instead, he should be focusing on playing the Uber v Uber game where they pop their Uber early by holding a defensive position and being able to do that. I'm really not sure as to why he's running the quick fix here. He's just putting his team at a really big disadvantage, I feel, by not having that Uber charge. His team makes the best of it. I think their DM is probably a little better, and it's carrying them in a lot of these situations. And so their team is starting to put some pressure down. All good play. His team seems to be doing a lot of the right decisions. And Dastabah's not playing poorly. I just feel like some of his decision making is questionable. Back on the metagun, good. Wants to start building that Uber. His soldier should have gone with him. I don't know if anybody checked lower, but it's certainly not the medic's job to do it alone unless he absolutely has to, and he wasn't building for that. Either way, though, Q2, the enemy medic, just spawned. 30% advance. Stop arrowing people. They can come back to you for heals. Arrows should be used kind of more sparingly, more in an emergency situation, especially at this level where building isn't optimized anyway. So, I'm not sure why Q2 hasn't been building this entire time, but Red's going to have a really big Uber advantage. At this point in time, they're at 70%. They lose people to the bomb, and I feel that's because. So, let me kind of move to where they were here. They were kind of standing in this area here, all clumped together. Nobody was holding a door. Nobody was really watching areas. It kind of invited a scout play from Saw that took out the pocket immediately. When you have this kind of Uber advantage and stuff, play your tight positions, play your tight corners, get ready for an incoming bomb or anything. Because if the enemy team realizes that that's what they need to do to win, they will do it. Trust that they will do it. And be ready for it. There was no reason that scout should have been able to get that far in and pick the pocket. If the pocket had a medic with him, if the pocket had demo man support, that would have looked a lot different, I think. They would have easily fended off the push, and they would have counter-pushed with their own Uber, which was getting really close. So that's kind of an unfortunate turn of events for them. And they're going to lose everybody here. And I feel that's really their inexperience. When Dastabah sent me this demo, he said that he feels like a lot of the problem they were having was revolving around a sniper. But I feel like they're kind of their own worst enemy there, where I'm going to pause it here, where they didn't get into position quickly enough, and they didn't get ready to go with their, with their positioning and with their health advantage and with their Uber advantage. The standard positioning is standard because it offers this great flexibility between being able to push in immediately and back up if you have to, and being able to have these defensive positions while still being able to go once you do have that advantage. So I'd like to see them learn some of those positionings and focus on getting into those positions really quickly and holding those positions. If players need heals, rotate them in and out. Maybe play your demo man a little more on the flank-ish side for a time being if you need to buff a roamer or whatever. But those kind of heal problems, you should not be all ganging up on the medic and leaving these huge holes in your plan. All right, much better buffs for these mids and stuff. He needs to find his demo man pretty quickly here. There we go. The demo man is kind of playing in a weird spot, but it's working out so far. The soldiers, I like how they moved up. That's really key, I think, for them. Good crossbow kill. Sometimes it's worth it. I promise. I'm not anti-crossbow. And so they start moving up. They move up immediately, and I like this. I can see their play. They kind of know the right decision sometimes. Sometimes they just don't connect the dots to making the right call. They stack the point, which is good. Here they want to be waiting for their roamer, who I don't think is with them yet. Get everybody up buffed and be ready to push in. It looks like they're just going to go in with a demo man and a scout. I like the scout ubers. I think they can be really powerful, especially when their enemy team doesn't have uber. I wish that they would help him out with his pyro a little bit, but ultimately it doesn't matter. The scout and the demo man uber did what it needed to do and put a lot of pressure on that point and get a lot of people dead. So ultimately, that was a good push. I liked the strategy there. I like how quickly they implemented it, even if they didn't give everybody a buff. All right, another mid. How much time we got? 15 minutes left. I believe this game runs the whole half hour, so they're gonna have to. Oh, no, that's about right. Okay, so they're coming to this mid here. He can't get to the scout, who should have come back a little bit. The demo man is being really aggressive here, and I know he's not being pressured, but waiting for your scouts and your medic, I think, would be a much better choice. They lose their soldiers immediately, and Dastabah is getting out. I don't think there's anything wrong with him leaving here, per se, but with 4 people up, 4v5, if you're not going to make an attempt at saving the midpoint, at least stay in with your players and help them get out with your heals. That's probably going to lose them a couple players here. So they lose the demo man, who was playing really aggressive, to a sniper, and that sniper mid, and see, yeah, those snipes. Okay, so if he had stayed at mid, he probably would have gotten sniped, so it's probably a good thing that he got out. But I still, in a normal situation, would have liked to have seen him get his players out a little bit more. Doesn't give that soldier a buff as he's passing him. It's okay to take your heal beam off that scout for just a second and give people a buff, as he's doing here. He can see the blue dot, so he knows he shouldn't be too aggressive here. They lose the roamer, presumably to a bomb. That sniper is waiting for him to cross. Okay, he doesn't take the shot, or he's already moved. So his team's putting a lot of pressure down. Gets a good uber. So there's the counter. So at this point in time, they know they're disadvantaged on time left remaining in the uber. It's time to get out. Yeah, they need to recollect on a certain area as soon as that uber was over. And that way they could heal up and get ready for the cleanup. As it was, I feel that the blue team kind of surrounded them and was able to clean up much, much better. Shadow got really aggressive with that uber. And it's okay to be aggressive with the uber, but as it's starting to fade, as the uber's starting to get over, as the cooldown period is starting to come into action here, jumping back to your medic, getting those heals, and presenting a strong force with your medic and your demo man, who are both up until just immediately now, they're still on the kill screen, would have allowed you guys to be much more successful post-uber here. Once you had popped them, I feel as if it was probably wiser for you to get any kills you could have in the next 2 to 3 seconds even, and then back up to the point itself, back up to this area right here, and play the little bit of the height advantage, play the little bit of the choke advantage as they come in with your demo man and soldier who could have been alive. Again, this isn't necessarily nitpicky. These are the kind of strategies that they're going to need to be successful at any level of TF2. But these are some more advanced strategies that newer medics and newer callers and newer teams might not be immediately picking up on, and that's okay. These are mostly just suggestions on how they could have played these situations better, and a lot of it's going to come down to them learning these situations. We're going to go back, and he's back on this quick fix. I don't know who taught him that quick fix is good for defending last you know, they could have been even on Uber and fought Uber v Uber. Let's see how they use it. I'm not gonna discount it immediately, but I'd like to see him not using the quick fix. I would say probably period. But we'll see. We'll see. They are Highlander players. They do like their unlocks. All right, so they've got their quick fix. If they wanted to use it, now is the time, and it's quickly running out. It's quickly going to be quick fix versus Uber, and like crits versus Uber, being invincible is usually better. Okay, they get the scout. That's good. Good defense there. It's a little weird that they're holding rough all right, but okay. So he pops, and yeah, see, he's able to save people. But I don't necessarily think that's the quick fix. I think, because like I said, he would have had Uber. I think that's the enemy team not hitting their shots. If they had been focusing on the heavy, if they had been focusing on the players appropriately, that quick fix would not have been as effective. And I don't feel as if the quick fix was the key to their success there. And see, he has to go back and change to Medigun. So he recognizes that the Medigun is better as a pushing power. But if he had had Uber there, I think the outcome would have been largely the same. He'd have been able to Uber the heavy and flash the Uber around. But I digress. Okay, I heard a spy. Yes, there it is. Okay, so if I could hear the spy, I'm pretty sure Dastabah probably could have as well. You know, but at the end of the day, spy picks happen. Spy picks make games sometimes. They're a high risk, high reward class, and the reward paid off this time. So stuff like that happens. Let's get back on. Let's get on Shadow here. We haven't been really expecting him much.
Time has been added.
Okay. So Shadow is getting ready to take somebody out as they come in. Okay, Dastabah on the Uber. I mean, this is the same situation he was in last time. Why the Uber this time instead of the quick fix? I don't know. I mean, obviously I agree with the decision to go the Uber because we usually don't use the quick fix, very extremely rarely. But this time he's made the correct decision. He's building. I really think standard position of him holding a little bit on the left side with his pocket with the heavy is probably a little better. It allows them to be a little more defensive with their Uber. You know, it's not really come back to bite them in the ass, but they could easily get flanked. They could easily have their flank overwhelmed in this kind of positioning, where their flank has nowhere to run because they're on the left side there. Oh, see, if you had just been healing, man, if you had just been healing that soldier, well, I'm not gonna say he wouldn't have died there, but he might not have died there. But you missed the arrow. If you're gonna use the arrow as your primary source of healing, your arrows better be godlike, and they're not. They're just not. Sorry. Okay, so blue team is pushing in here, and so here we can see the perfect reason why you don't use the arrows that much. He wasn't healing as much. They started off with an even Uber and didn't have it for that fight. So I you know, the arrow shenanigans, the not healing, the not building, this all does add up into situations like this. They had even Uber. He was really close to Uber. But it's going to lose in the round to make it 2-2. My HUD is broken, as you can see, and covers up my scoreboard. Gotta fix that. Okay. Back on Dastabah. See what he does at this mid. I am focusing on the medic because this is a medic mentee of mine. I main medic, and so only really mentor medics. Videos in the future will not just be focused on medic. They'll be prominently featuring other classes as well, and teamwork in general. Their demo man. This demo man has zero fear. He must be getting to mid so much faster than their demo man. We might do the next mid from the bird's eye view, just to see like why their demo is getting away with being so aggressive, but it's working. They jump the aggressive soldiers. It's really good play here, and they start moving up immediately. They know what to do again. I like this. So they know a demo man's up. They know where he is too. They know. There we go. Nice arrow. This guy's got some arrows. He's got some arrow skills. I can see why he likes to use them, but I'd still like to see him get that heal beam out a little bit more. And he makes a beeline for lower. Almost going through that choke before anybody else does. Alright, so here they Uber in. They didn't really wait for players. I think this might work out anyway, because they've gotten the 3 picks now. And the enemy team's DM isn't really cutting it necessarily. Okay, I would like to see him. But before he pushes in there, Dastabah needs to be making sure that his players come back to him for a buff. They had plenty of time. There was no rush with that Uber. I feel like that's the kind of thing that can really come back and bite them in the butt. Players aren't synchronized with the push. Players aren't buffed for the push. You're not going in with your best foot forward. It worked out for them. It might continue working out for them as they face worse and worse, as they face these lower level teams. These kind of aggressive, no holds bar strategies work really well, especially at super low levels. But the correct play and the more sustainable play long term into the future. Remember, he does want to go into ESEAO. He presumably doesn't want to lose all of his matches, and I don't think he will. But he's going to want to get those healing mechanics and those buffing mechanics down before every fight. Recall his team, get ready to go. Alright, so 2-3. There's 9 minutes left, about 10 minutes left in the game. Let's see what they do now. Oh yeah, we're gonna do bird's eye view. I don't have a good way of getting there. Okay. Let's see here. So the Demo Man's not super much faster. I mean, not really at all. The Blue Demo Man's just playing really passive. It almost comes back to bite him in the ass there with some clutch heals instead of clutch arrows. Save the day there. They lose the Demo Man. They are kind of winning a little bit of the other cleanup fights here, but they've lost a lot of heavy players. I feel like if their Demo Man had been a little more passive there, just spammed across point, waited for the players, and they had called targets and called focuses, that would have been a little bit better. It looked like they were going to win that fight, especially with how passive the Blue Demo Man was playing as a response to the Red Demo Man aggression. Mafferboofers aggression. It's great names. Yow like Boo. That's an okay name. Alright. So they're getting on the point here. Blue team's getting on the point. Okay, so they do decide to exchange here. Okay, so they get the pop. It's time to leave. It's been time to leave. No, you need to be out of that choke before the Uber's over. You are lucky. They continue to win these cleanups. So their Demo Man is putting in good work. He's only midway through the scoreboard, but he's putting in a lot of damage and being a good driving force here. The Demo Man's pretty good. So, I mean, take a moment to talk about why they won that fight. They won that fight because I feel like Blue Team kind of pushed up a little bit too much. They lost that soldier who tried to bomb the medic immediately. It was kind of tenuous there for a minute. Certainly as Dastabah got really low and his team got really low, but they kind of held it together. I really do think off of their superior DM here. So they're pushing in here a little bit. This Demo Man is putting out lots of damage. And they're just kind of standing there for not really pressuring the Demo Man. Note to Blue Team, put a little bit more pressure on the Demo Man, because Mafferboofers don't goof around. Oh, he saw that spy. That spy shouldn't have killed anybody. He literally saw that spy. Actually, in demos, you might not see spies. I think you only see the. Yeah, so he maybe didn't see that spy. That's okay. He didn't die to the spy, and that's what's most important, because we're talking about Dastabah, who we weren't watching. I don't know how Dastabah got himself into that situation, so we're going to continue watching his team. However he got into that situation, he should not have been there. Certainly not without his teammates. Okay, so it seems to me that Red Team got super disjointed there. They had 2 or 3 players on the point while their medic was fighting a soldier in Saw, while a whole bunch of other things were going on. Explodey came in super late and had to fall all the way back. So yeah, it's kind of awkward here. So the blue team has Uber. Dastabah, even if he doesn't know the actual like specifics of how much Uber they have, he has to understand that they have a huge advantage, and that's kind of like that's the important call. They have a huge advantage. They could push it at any time. By now, he should probably start recognizing that they have it, and I like their positioning a lot better this time. I think Dastabah's probably holding a little bit too close to the choke. The heal beam does have quite a bit of range. You don't need to be on that short of a leash. Getting that spam down, helping your team get that spam down is important, but I don't want to see you take too much damage doing it. Alright, so I heard the pop, and I see the pop having gone off. The soldier does not like their medic. Oh, man, 95. Stay with your medic, bud. Okay, let's have a conversation for a few seconds here about pockets leaving their medics at critical moments. 95%. That's 2 seconds. That soldier just needed to hang on and be with his medic for 2 more seconds, jump to the same place as medic did. And a lot of that's coordination. A lot of that's, Dastabah saying, hey, I'm leaving, I call it Death Bridge. I'm leaving the ramp, the metal ramp area. And Shadow saying, okay, well, let me get to you and heal you. Or Shadow saying, hey, we're jumping all the way back to balcony. Meet me there. And them meeting up much quicker to get those heals down. That's not even 2 seconds that they could have had Uber, and this would have been a very different fight. As it is, the scouts are kind of doing work. Oh, the scouts are so good. Okay, so here comes the roaming soldier. Okay, they might even win this. Like I said, at DM, they lost that fight when they lost the medic with Uber, and then they won it again off of the cleanup in the DM. Power to them if that's what's going to get them through. But I want to see them focusing and relying more on smart play than cheeky DM, because the cheeky DM is not going to suffice them forever. The usual high quality binds and bind spams that we get in Team Fortress 2. Let's get back on our player here, Dastabah. Okay. Kind of holding a weird spot here. Yeah, and he does get a little spammed out. This is what we hold spots for a reason. I want to see them try to use those spots to their advantage. Okay, so they know they got the medic flank. They need to push right now. Dastabah saw a scout. And good call, good staying with the medic. They knew a scout was behind them, and they knew what to do with it. So now they're going to start walking onto mid. Again with the arrows. Heal your scout, buddy. Heal your soldier, buddy. There we go. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to drop there from fall damage. That was a brave hold, as long as he did. Ubering player stops him from capping. That was way too aggressive for a medic with 15 health. Like, he should have been so far back. He should have been like, oh, I have to restart it. He should have been like here, yo, healing people who were kind of on the point and spamming it, and then be able to back that immediately. Like, his positioning is not situational. It seems like he just knows a couple positions here and there, and just wants to be there. So they lose the midpoint. I feel like if they had not succumbed as much to the Demo Man, if they had been in a little bit better of a position considering their health, hold a little further back, get your heals, and then move up a little bit. They can have the little lower area. That's just fine. All right. Building with the scout. I like this. They're even on Uber. Building is really important in these situations because getting Uber a little bit quicker is a big deal. They're going to get some heals down. They're holding in a defensive position. This is kind of an old style Snake Water position. This is where medics used to hold. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel it doesn't put them in as good of a position to engage as quickly. And it also prevents them from getting out as easily. But overall, it's not the worst position in the world. I feel as if Dastabah didn't really know what was going on there. But they didn't pop the enemy medic. They got popped by a whole bunch of bombers. And Blue is playing this Uber game so well. They backed up. Oh, no, they have crit streak. That's why. They backed up, and they forced the Uber, and then they come back in. I did not notice he has crit streak.
Our control point is being captured.
All right. So they dropped the medic to the crit streak. They dropped a bunch of players to the crit streak. They got popped really early. Kind of an awkward situation. Again with the quick fixes. We're just not going to pay attention. Alright, Dastabah is making the correct choice. And we're going to see Uber versus quick fix, and we're going to be highly disappointed, I think, in the quick fix's performance. God, I hope so. So Scout and our medic buddy here pretty quickly. Doesn't really hit. It's good. The Demo Man again putting in tons of work. He deserves a higher space on the scoreboard for that. Just doing the typical last hold here. The quick fix does build faster. They're gonna have it a little sooner. I would like to see Dastabah building here because he knows he's even, and he's not really. He's just kind of healing the same people over and over again. And the heavy play is kind of irritating. It just is. It can put you on a bender. It's something you have to learn how to deal with, but a great entry frag. So he pops the quick fix and then dies anyway because it doesn't make you invincible. It just doesn't make you invincible. Okay, so like they didn't even need Uber there. Heavy's going for a cheeky play, doesn't get it. And Games Dean not seen. Why aren't they? Okay, so they really should have pushed up there, and Games Dean should have gotten the point, or at least like been able to have to fight the roaming soldier. But they get the point anyway.
The control point is being contested.
But they're holding back at last. You guys have second point and Uber advantage. You guys have second point and huge Uber advantage. You should have had your whole team move the fuck up immediately anyway. Pardon my French. You guys should have had everybody on that point. You guys should have had everybody ready to go, except possibly your heavy and or your roaming soldier who is playing engineer. Move up when you like. You even cap the point. Your scouts knew to go up and cap the point. Your scouts knew what to do. Why didn't they call it? You know, these are the kind of things you just need to be thinking about. You had the perfect opportunity to get off last point here, and if you lose this round at this point in time, it's your guys' fault for not pushing up. You could have been pushing into mid with a huge Uber advantage. They lose two people immediately, you know, not flashing. And you know, I want to say that, you know, all bad luck with the last hold. Sometimes they're hard. You know, sometimes they just get overwhelmed, even though you have Uber. Oh, actually. Okay. At the very least, it shouldn't have come down to a 5 health equalizer from Yow Like Boo to save that. They should have been on mid. But I guess that's enough about that. Clutch plays from Yow Like Boo. You can't rely on clutch plays. Make smart plays. Alright, so this video is getting kind of long now, so we're just going to go to a quick recap here. First things first, heal your players. I saw a lot of crossbow usage. And I'm not going to say that the crossbow has no particular utility, because it certainly does. But I think, especially at your level, making sure you focus on good quality heals on all of your players, making sure all your players are taken care of, will avoid some of the situations you guys found yourself in with a technical advantage that the enemy team was able to just pressure you because your heals are positional disadvantage. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that from your team, because you guys worked hard for a lot of those advantages and deserve to be able to use them. Healing your players is the best thing that you can do for your team to get them into that position. You said in your messaging to me that you were the team's caller, so this is mostly your responsibility, but have your team in a better, more cognizant position. Have your team ready to go in a moment's notice, either back or front, either engage or disengage, either fight where they are, push up, back out. Those are usually the 3 options for you, and your positioning will immediately affect how well you're able to do any of those situations. The standard stock positions are the positions that allow you to do all 3 of those things relatively easily. They're the reason they're the stock positions. They usually are the best to have in the most generic situations you're going to come across. So learn those positions, hold those positions, and make sure that your players are watching the doors and ready to go at a moment's notice. Get your players to doors and at fights. This only really happened once or twice, but I kind of harped on it a little bit in the actual demo review. But there was a couple of times there where you just would take one person in and not turn around and buff, not turn around and Uber people through. Not necessarily the right action, especially when you have a huge Uber advantage going in. Get your players buffed, get your players ready to go, get your players through the door, turn around and heal. Your only job in a last fight really is making sure everybody stays healed. Pop that Uber, make a good Uber effective. But once your Uber's over, turn around and heal people. It's literally all you're good at. Stay in, heal the people unless it's looking really bad and you can escape. And that will give your team the best chance they have at winning those kind of games. And be more aware of your situation versus your opponents. I felt that there was a couple times where you guys were holding way too far up with a player disadvantage or way too far back with a player advantage, especially only because it's one of the most recent examples. That one time you guys were holding last point, they had all but one died. You had Uber, they obviously didn't because their medic had died. You guys should have pushed up. Your scout knew to push up. Why wasn't your whole team up there supporting him, ready to defend your newly acquired territory? You just let them have it all over again, and eventually they pushed you back to point, and your roaming soldier had to fight him with 5 health, fight their medic with 5 health to save the point. I just want to see more crisp play and more recognition of that kind of situation that you could be in. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for sending the demo to Dastabah. At the top is my Twitter handle. At the right below it, my Twitch.tv. I don't stream a whole lot right now, but I will as we start to play again. Postseason just ended. I'm gonna have a lot of time to make videos, a lot of time to stream, and you're gonna see a lot more of me doing that. You can send me demos to review, quick tip ideas, questions, matches you want casted, anything that you think would make a good YouTube video, send my way. You can either hit me up via the Twitter, find me on the forums, or find me on Steam. I'll put the link in the description down below. Remember to like it if you liked it, favorite it, subscribe if you really liked it and want to see a lot more of this content. I had a lot of good subscribers from my last video. I think we're hitting at about 30 right now, and I think that's really good. Thank you guys for your support, and I will see you next time.